Hello, you're listening to Kent Richard van Coudenhove Kalergi. Today is Monday, the 9th of March, and here's a couple of comments since my last video. I had a very interesting chat during the week with a Brazilian girl who had visited 51 countries, imagine that, 51 countries, and had lived in over 10 of them, and said that Ireland was the nicest place, and was actually going back to Brazil on holidays, a little bit reluctantly, but said she couldn't wait to return back to Ireland. Isn't that something, right? And I also met a girl from the Czech Republic who was from Prague and who, while in Prague, was doing 16-hour shifts, with the average industrial wage there being €500 a month. She was doing 16-hour shifts between 5 and 6 days a week to earn up to €800 a month. So she regarded doing a 7-hour shift in Ireland as a bit of a holiday. I also got talking to a barrister and who knew nothing about the demographics of this country. For instance, in the year 2000, the number of foreign nationals living in Ireland was at 3%, and it's now up at 18%, and within a 20-year period. And I end up talking about direct provision as well, the fact that two more are now trying to, down in Tullamore and in Rosslare, and also the amount of money that's been made by the legal profession. And I happened to mention to him about an MEP whose wife made 1.14 million dealing with asylum cases over a 4-year period, and also the fact that a lot of these companies now have gone from limited companies to unlimited, so they don't actually have to publish their books, and are quite a few of them are actually based now in the Isle of Man. And I also mentioned that it is believed up to 90% of all asylum claims are actually bogus. And in fact, today the Department of Justice released figures that 70% of all asylum claims are actually rejected. Isn't that something? And yet the majority of claims are coming from Albania and Georgia, which are two countries which don't really have any conflict. Now, the wife actually thanked me for the information. At least she was a little bit more appreciative about it than he was. Now, last Saturday I went to Mass in a church, met up with some friends of mine, and there were notices all over the pillars about not shaking hands and to wash your hands using sanitizer coming in and going out of the church. And at the part where the priest says, now we're not going to offer each other the sign of peace, so we decided to shake hands with each other anyway. And one of my friends turned to the lady beside her, and beside him, and she got a bit of a fright when he offered his hand out to shake, which she refused. But it's interesting to note that although you're not allowed to shake hands at the moment, it's quite happy to pass the collection plate around. That's okay, you know. But also in relation to the corona now, there was a Sunday Business Post had an article that they believe up to 1.8 million people in Ireland could be affected. Now, can you imagine the demand on the state to actually introduce vaccines and mandatory vaccinations? And I reckon that at that stage they'll get to actually a point of where it would be suggested that to actually chip people to make sure that they have been vaccinated or not. And can you imagine then that you could have, for people who refuse to get vaccinated or chipped, your freedom of movement would be curtailed. First, possibly leaving the country, and then secondly, domestically, you'd be limited to where you can actually go. You may not be able to access public transport or schools or colleges or medical facilities, you know. And on a personal note, I have completed reading the New Testament. Strangely enough, a Bible that I found in my local church, free, with a sticker on the front said free to anybody who wants it. So I brought it home with me, and on the suggestion of a friend of mine who said to start with the Gospel of St. John and work through Matthew, Mark, Luke, and through Acts of the Apostles and all the other parts, I have completed it now as of today. So I've completed the New Testament, which I regard as a bit of a milestone. So I'm looking forward to, I read a little bit of it every day, and I'll do the same tomorrow now. But I'm reminded of a quote from the book of Revelations that talks about, it says, it forces all men, small and great, rich and poor, slave and free, to accept a stamped image on their right hand or their forehead, and moreover, it did not allow a man to buy or sell anything unless he was first marked with the name of the beast or with the number that stood for its name. Now, this to me sounds like something very similar that could happen with all this corona stuff going on, and with the potential for the chipping of people. So there are a couple of thoughts which are my own. Thanks for listening. Good night, God bless, and good luck.